Welcome to the Shop Strategy. This is your deep dive, really tailored just for you, into the nuts and bolts of making your Shopify store work better.
And today, we're really zeroing in on something that feels like the end of the rainbow for the customer, but is actually, well, a massive opportunity for growth,
Yeah.
payment, gateway optimization.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack this. Because you pour so much effort, right, getting customers to that add to cart point, products, marketing, site design, everything, and then like right at the finish line, poof, they vanish.
It's so frustrating. And, we look through the sources, and the numbers, frankly, they're a bit stark. That average cart abandonment rate, still stubbornly high, hovering around 70%.
70%?
Yeah. And a huge, often kind of overlooked reason for that, friction.
Yeah.
Right there at the payment step.
That's just potential money walking out the door, all that traffic, all that interest, just hitting a wall right before the sale happens. But, okay, here's the good news, and this is what we're diving into today. The sources are clear. Optimizing your payment gateways isn't just, like, housekeeping.
Not at all.
It's a strategic move. It can seriously slash that abandonment. We're talking conversion rate boosts from, say, 15%, maybe even up to 30%.
That kind of jump can really change things for a business.
Yeah.
So making that final step smooth, effortless, that's our mission today. And this deep dive. It's powered by Growth Suite.
That's right. And while we're digging into optimizing that final payment handshake, Growth Suite actually works a bit earlier. It helps you run smarter discount campaigns, using AI for timing and personalization, really nudging customers towards that checkout strategically.
And you can try it out for free on your Shopify store. So yeah, definitely check that out. But for now, let's get into that crucial final handshake.
Okay, so why? Why are payment gateways such a make or break point?
Well, it's literally the moment of truth, isn't it? The commitment point. The data we reviewed makes this super clear. One stat that really jumped out. How many people bail if they just don't see the payment method they prefer?
Oh, yeah. How many?
Sources suggest it could be as high as 42%. Just think about that for a second. Nearly half your potential buyers might just leave because you don't offer, Apple Pay or PayPal, or maybe their specific local bank card option.
Wow, 42%. Just for lack of a preferred option. That's massive. And I'm guessing it's even worse on mobile.
Oh, definitely. Mobile shoppers, they're often multitasking, right? They expect things to be fast, simple, so a clunky payment process on a tiny screen. The sources show it can spike abandonment by up to 37% just for mobile users. If it's not quick and seamless, they're just gone.
Okay. So having the right options is obviously critical. But you mentioned something interesting earlier. It's not just what you offer.
Exactly. It's also how you present it, the arrangement, the order of your payment options on that checkout page. It matters a lot. Just showing the most popular methods first, making them prominent, that alone can lift conversions by as much as 12%.
12%, just for placement.
Yeah, it sounds small maybe, but it adds up. It's about psychology, reducing friction.
And this whole payment landscape, it's not exactly static, is it?
No way. Credit cards are still the baseline, sure. But digital wallets, Apple Pay, Google Pay, they're basically essential now, especially for mobile conversion. Then you've got buy now, pay later, which has just exploded for certain products and demographics. And the moment you start thinking internationally, well, understanding and offering those regional methods becomes absolutely key. Keeping up isn't just nice to have, it's vital.
Right. So let's focus on the Shopify world specifically. What are the main ways stores actually handle payments inside Shopify?
Okay, so fundamentally, you've got two main roads. There's Shopify's own integrated system, Shopify Payments, and then there's integrating third-party gateways. Think PayPal, Stripe, maybe others, depending on the need.
Got it. Let's start with Shopify Payments. What are the big pluses there?
Okay, the biggest advantage is probably the seamless integration. It's built in. That means simpler reporting, easier payouts, smoother order management overall. Plus, you usually get a break on transaction fees because Shopify waives their additional platform fee if you use their gateway.
Ah, okay.
And maybe the biggest perk, direct access to Shop Pay, which is a game changer.
We'll definitely circle back to Shop Pay. But why would someone need a third-party gateway then if Shopify Payments is so integrated?
Good question. Sometimes you need really specific features that Shopify Payments doesn't offer natively. Maybe super complex subscription billing, for example. Or a third party might have a much stronger foothold or better rates in a specific international market where Shopify Payments isn't the main player.
Right, regional differences.
Exactly. Or maybe you have existing financial systems outside Shopify that just integrate better with a particular third-party provider.
So it's often not an either situation, more like a mix and match.
Yeah, very often. Many successful stores use what we call a multi-gateway strategy. They use Shopify payments as their core, for its strengths, but then they strategically layer in third-party options to cater to specific customer groups or regions or even certain product types.
And navigating all this, the sources really hammered home the need for data, right? What should we be looking at?
Oh, absolutely. You've got to go beyond just your overall store conversion rate. You need to track conversion by payment method. Which ones are people actually using to complete the sale? Then, look at abandonment specifically at the payment stage of your checkout funnel.
Okay.
Measure how long it takes someone to actually pay once they start. And definitely track payment errors, how often they happen, and why they happen.
Right. Using those numbers moves it from just guessing to actually having a strategy. So, okay, based on the sources, how do you actually choose the right gateways? Because it's clearly not one size fits all.
No, it absolutely isn't. This is where you have to look at your business, your customers. The sources highlighted a few key areas to assess.
Like store size and volume, how does that play in?
It's fundamental. If you're small, Shopify Payments is often great, simple, straightforward fees, no extra Shopify transaction fee. But as you grow, maybe mid-size or large, you need to look harder at how fee structures scale, currency conversion costs, how fast you get paid out, and whether you need enterprise-level reliability and support. Your volume changes the calculation.
Makes sense. And geography, you mentioned that. Sounds critical.
Hugely critical. Where your customers are dictates what they expect, what they trust. Get this. One source found that just letting customers pay in the local currency can boost conversion by up to 30%.
30%, just for showing the right currency.
Yeah, and preferences vary wildly. Germany, bank transfers like SoFort are huge, maybe over half of online payments. Japan, paying at convenience stores. Conbini is still a big deal. And then there are regulations like SCA in Europe, strong customer authentication. Some gateways handle that better than others. You just can't assume your home market's preferences apply everywhere else.
That local currency stat is mind-blowing.
Right.
What about what you're selling? Does the product type matter?
For sure. Selling digital goods.
Yeah.
You need instant payment confirmation and really robust fraud screening because the risk profile is different. Subscription boxes. You need a gateway built for recurring billing. High-value items. Buy now, pay later options can be huge. Sources show maybe up to a 30% conversion lift for those pricier items, plus a nice bump in average order value. But again, that needs solid fraud prevention because the ticket size is higher.
Okay, so you've assessed your store's needs, size, location, products. What are the absolute must-have features for any payment gateway, the non-negotiables?
Okay, top of the list, no question. Security and compliance. That means PCI, DSS compliance for handling card data, thankfully. Shopify and the big gateways handle most of that burden. You need good fraud detection.
Right.
But crucially, it needs to be balanced. You don't want to block legit sales just to stop fraud. That's the false positive problem. And look for tokenization. That's where they swap sensitive card details for a secure token after the first purchase. Makes repeat buys faster and way safer for you because you're not storing the raw card numbers.
And that security piece isn't just technical, it builds trust, right?
Totally. If people don't feel safe, they just won't buy, period.
Yeah.
Equally vital is the user experience. That directly impacts conversion.
Like keeping them on your site. You mentioned that earlier.
Exactly. The checkout flow. Sources show redirecting people off-site to pay. That can cause up to 20% more abandonment compared to an embedded checkout where they pay right there on your page. And mobile responsiveness?
Yeah.
Well, with over 70% of traffic being mobile now.
It's got to work on a phone.
It just has to. Easy forms, big buttons, and saved payment info for returning folks. That's gold. Customers using saved details check out up to 60% faster. A clunky checkout, even if it's secure, just makes your whole brand look bad and costs you sales.
What about the techie stuff, the behind-the-scenes things?
Yeah, that's what keeps things running smoothly operationally. You want to look for things like API flexibility if you need custom integrations, webhook support for real-time updates, and good compatibility with your other key Shopify apps, accounting, fulfillment, marketing tools. Technical glitches can just kill all your other optimization efforts.
Okay, let's zoom back in on Shopify payments. You called it the foundation. How do you really squeeze the most value out of it?
Right, so you need to leverage its built-in advantages. Financially, not having those extra Shopify transaction fees, that's a direct saving, especially as you grow. You also might get better credit card rates depending on your Shopify plan. And the multi-currency conversion, usually around 1.52%, it's transparent, pretty much automatic.
And the checkout experience itself is a big draw.
Massive. Shopify Payments unlocks Shop Pay. And the sources we looked at, they rave about Shop Pay. Customers check out up to 4 times faster, Stores see conversion rates for Shop Pay users that are like 50% higher than standard checkout users.
50% higher. Wow.
Yeah. And for returning customers, when Shopify Payments automatically fills in their info, that cuts abandonment by up to 25%. Plus, having it all managed within Shopify just simplifies your life.
What about the built-in fraud protection?
Yep, it has automatic risk analysis on orders. You can set up custom filters, and depending on your plan, you might even get chargeback protection, which is a nice safety net. Lets you approve more orders you might otherwise decline.
So how do you specifically optimize for Shop Pay?
First, make sure it's actually turned on in your settings. Then, position it prominently. Ideally, make it the very first express checkout option they see. You can even add little messages on product pages or in the cart saying how fast it is. Basically, make it visible and easy wherever they might decide to buy.
And Shop Pay installments, that seems to be everywhere now.
It is, especially for orders over $50 or so. It lets customers split the cost, usually interest-free. So
Yeah.
enable that feature and then promote it clearly on product pages in the cart. It can really boost your average order value merchants report, like 30–50% increases on orders using installments. And it just makes bigger purchases feel more accessible.
So more revenue per sale, easier path for bigger buys. What about going international with multi-currency?
Shopify Payments makes this relatively straightforward. You pick the currencies you want to support based on your target markets. You can use live exchange rates automatically or set specific prices for each market. Just make sure your currency selector is easy to find and use. The goal is always to make that international customer feel like they're buying locally.
How do you really create that local feeling beyond just the currency?
Offer the payment methods they actually use every day in their country. Think Ideal in the Netherlands, Alipay or WeChat Pay in China, Solfert in Germany, Boleto down in Brazil, OXXO in Mexico. Make sure your messaging about currency conversion is super clear if you're using automatic rates. And, really important, make sure your international shipping and tax calculations are smooth and integrated. No surprises at the final step.
Okay, so Shopify Payments is the core, tuned up. When and how do you bring in those third-party options strategically?
Yeah, they need to be complementary. They fill specific gaps, whether that's features or regions, that Shopify Payments doesn't quite cover for your specific needs.
PayPal seems like the big one. Still necessary?
I'd say yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Even with Shopify Payments being great, PayPal has huge brand recognition and trust globally. Adding PayPal, even alongside Shopify Payments, can often give you an overall conversion lift, maybe somewhere in the 3–7% range.
Yeah.
Best practice: enable PayPal Express checkout, put it right near Shop Pay, and maybe test putting a PayPal button earlier, like on the product page or cart. Sources say that can boost its usage by 20–30%.
And that trust factor with PayPal, that's real, right?
Oh, it's huge. Something like 90% of online shoppers know and trust PayPal. If you're a newer store or just building your brand, having that familiar, trusted logo at checkout can be really valuable.
What about those digital wallets? Apple Pay, Google Pay, they seem to be growing fast.
Fastest growing segment, yeah. And critical for mobile. With Shopify Payments, Apple Pay is basically automatic once you verify your domain. Google Pay is also super easy to integrate. These wallets offer incredibly fast checkouts, maybe up to 60% faster on mobile, because there's no typing in card numbers.
And the impact on mobile conversions specifically?
It's significant. Stores often see mobile conversion rates jump 15–25% after really optimizing for these wallets. Since mobile traffic is dominant, making these super prominent on phones is just essential.
And for hitting those international markets, adding those specific regional methods. Sounds like you just have to do it.
If you're serious about international growth, yeah. Ignoring things like Klarna in Scandinavia, Ideal in the Netherlands, or the big mobile payment apps in Asia like Alipay and WeChat Pay, which have like 90% plus market share in China, you're just leaving money on the table. Same for Komoju in Japan, Boleto in Brazil, OXO in Mexico, UPI in India. People default to what's familiar and easy in their own digital world.
And the typical lift when you add the right local method?
In those specific markets, adding the dominant local option can easily boost conversions by 30% or even more. It's about removing that last hurdle of, I don't recognize this payment method.
Okay, right. So you've picked your gateway mix. Now, how do you fine-tune the tech and the UX on the checkout page itself? Turn that potential friction into flow.
Okay, first thing, rethink the order you show the payment options. Don't just list them randomly. Strategic prioritization is key. Put the fastest, most popular ones first. Shop Pay, digital wallets, PayPal Express. And definitely A/B test different display orders. Small changes can make a surprising difference.
A/B testing the order. Got it.
And here's something interesting from the sources. Sometimes less is actually more. You need options, yes, but offering too many can cause decision paralysis. Some studies suggest that having more than, say, 5 or 6 distinct payment types can actually decrease conversion. Aim for maybe 3 to 5 optimal, clearly presented choices.
That is counterintuitive. Okay, what about the actual checkout page design?
Minimize those form fields, like be
Correct.
ruthless. The data is so consistent here. Every extra required field can knock conversion down by roughly 10%.
Oh,
Use autofill, address validation, anything to reduce typing. Only ask for what you absolutely need. And display security stuff prominently near the payment area, trust badges, SSL logos, clear statements about security. Sources say that can boost conversion 15–30% just by reinforcing trust. And obviously, make sure it's perfect on mobile, big tap targets, simple fields.
and when payments fail,
Mm.
because they sometimes do, how do you handle that smoothly?
You need error messages that are actually helpful, not just payment failed. If possible, tell them why incorrect CVV, card expired. And right there on the error message, suggest alternative payment methods they could try. Maybe implement automatic retries for common temporary declines. Good error handling, sources suggest, can recapture 15–30% of those otherwise lost sales.
Okay, let's shift to more advanced stuff, using data, testing, going deeper.
Right. Data is your best friend here. Set up analytics specifically for payment performance. Track the funnel through checkout and payment. Don't just look at overall abandonment. Pinpoint where in the payment process people are dropping off. Segment it too. Are mobile users struggling with a certain method? Are returning customers having issues? Just comparing completion rates between different payment options can reveal hidden problems.
And A/B testing again sounds like a must.
Absolutely essential. It's how you find out what really works for your audience. Test payment method order, button designs, trust badge placement, the wording around Shop Pay or BNPL. Test one thing at a time, let it run long enough to be sure about the results, and then layer those wins. It adds up.
And talking to customers directly.
Invaluable. Use post-purchase surveys asking specifically about checkout. Look at support tickets related to payment problems. Customers will often tell you exactly where the friction is in ways data alone can't.
Interesting idea from the sources, reaching out to people who abandon right at the payment step.
Yeah, it's an advanced tactic, but a simple email asking if they had trouble can sometimes give you amazing insights and occasionally even save the sale.
Reducing friction. That seems like the North Star. How do you get closer to that sort of one-click ideal?
Well, leverage save payments for returners, make it easy to save details, promote the benefit, put express checkout buttons like Shop Pay early, maybe even on the cart page, not just the final checkout. And really think hard about forcing account creation up front. Sources show that can kill initial conversion by up to 23%.
23%. Just for forcing an account.
Yep, offer guest checkout. Let them create an account after they buy if they want to.
And mobile payment optimization, worth repeating, I guess.
Definitely, because mobile conversion still lags desktop, and payment is a huge reason why. So, focus on touch-friendly design, prioritize mobile wallets high up, simplify forms for small screens, tailoring it like making Apple Pay the absolute top option on iPhones can give you that 15–25% mobile conversion bump.
What about cart recovery emails specifically for payment drop-offs?
Yeah, identify those folks who got to the payment page but didn't finish. Send them targeted emails. Instead of just, you left stuff in your cart, maybe mention payment alternatives or ask if they hit a snag. Sources show these targeted emails work way better than generic ones, and sending it fast within an hour can apparently triple the recovery rate compared to waiting longer.
Okay, wow. We've hit conversion, speed, options, data, but underlying all of this is security and compliance. How do you build that trust while staying on the right side of the rules?
You have to keep hammering this home. Security isn't just a box to tick, it's a trust signal, and it directly impacts whether people buy. They won't if they don't feel safe.
Yeah.
So display those visible security cues, trust badges, SSL certs, clear messages like your payment is encrypted. Sources show that alone can lift conversion 10–20%.
And the balancing act with fraud prevention, not blocking good customers.
Right. Use the standard tools like AVS and CVV checks. Leverage the advanced detection your gateway offers. But constantly monitor your false positive rate. Good orders getting declined. It's about finding that sweet spot between stopping fraud and letting legitimate sales through.
Protecting data builds trust too, right?
For sure. Collect only what you need. Use secure methods like tokenization via Shopify payments. Be transparent in your privacy policy, maybe even on the checkout page, about how you handle data. Communication builds confidence.
And navigating all the regulations, PCI, GDPR, regional stuff.
With Shopify payments, a lot of the PCI DSS heavy lifting is done for you, which is great. You still have responsibilities, usually completing a self-assessment questionnaire. But for international sales, yeah, you have to deal with regional rules like SCA in Europe or specific data and payment laws in Brazil, India, Australia, wherever you sell. Using payment providers who stay on top of these changing rules is a lifesaver. SCA, for example, requires that extra authentication step for many European transactions.
Okay, so after doing all this work, how do we actually know if it's working? What are the key metrics, the KPIs?
Okay, start with your main conversion metrics. Check out completion rate, specifically by payment method. That tells you which ones are actually closing the deal. Look at your overall payment error rate and try to understand the reasons, and track the average time it takes to complete payment. Sources suggest the best stores get 70–85% of people who reach the payment stage to actually complete it. And remember that stat. Every extra 5 seconds in checkout can cost you 5–7% in conversion.
Oof. Okay, what about the money side?
Look beyond the simple per transaction fee. Calculate your effective fee rate, total fees divided by total volume. Watch your chargeback rate closely, ideally broken down by payment method, and think about the total revenue impact of your payment mix. Sometimes a method with a slightly higher fee drives way more overall profit because it boosts conversion or AOV like BNPL can. Don't just chase the lowest fee, chase the most profitable conversion.
And customer satisfaction fits in here too.
Critically, use those post-purchase surveys. Ask about checkout. See if payment method choice correlates with repeat business. Look for trends in support tickets or feedback about specific payment options. That qualitative stuff is vital context.
So it's really clear this isn't a set it and forget it thing. It's ongoing.
Totally. The payment world, customer habits, tech, it's always changing. You need a framework for continuous improvement. Do regular reviews, maybe monthly checks, quarterly strategy assessments, an annual deep dive into your whole payment setup. Formalize it.
Keep up with tech trends.
Essential. Watch Shopify updates, look at new payment methods relevant to your customers, be willing to test things, maybe starting with a small segment. Just balance trying new things with keeping things stable.
And watching the competition.
Yeah, use competitive benchmarking as inspiration, not just to copy blindly.
Yeah.
See how they handle checkout, what options they push, look at industry best practices, and keep asking your own customers what they like or dislike about paying on other sites too.
This has been quite the deep dive. It really feels like one of the most critical leverage points for any Shopify store. It's where all that effort to get traffic actually turns into money. That final handshake, getting it right is just crucial.
It really is. It's where acquisition efforts actually become revenue. Optimizing here often gives you more bang for your buck than, say, trying to double your traffic.
And it's a journey, like you said, always evolving.
Exactly. So, the advice from this deep dive: start with quick wins. Activate and prioritize ShopPay. Reorder your options based on what's popular. Nail that mobile experience. Then build momentum, add strategic third-party gateways where they fit your audience. And set up that system for ongoing data review and testing.
That balanced approach seems key. Immediate gains plus long-term advantage.
Definitely. So maybe the final thought for you, the listener, to chew on after this. How well is your store's final handshake actually converting all that traffic you worked so hard to get?
And remember, this entire deep dive into optimizing those crucial sales points was powered by Growth Suite.
Yeah, Growth Suite helps you run those smart discount campaigns, using AI for timing and personalization, engaging customers before they even get to that finely tuned checkout you're building. It's about getting more qualified buyers into a checkout process that's built to convert.
And you can test Growth Suite completely free on your Shopify store. Definitely worth checking out.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive on the shop strategy.
Yeah, hope you found it really valuable.